So, if you're sit at home with your kids, well, what are you trying to do? Well, you're trying to raise them to be the kind of moral agents that will work to constrain the evil in the world and to reduce suffering. And so that's what you're doing when you're changing a diaper, if you're doing it carefully and with some respect and some love. Like, it's a major league deal to be doing that. And God only knows who your kid's going to be. He could be the kid that shoots up Columbine, or it could be Stalin. That wouldn't be so good. Or he could be someone, or she could be someone who is a positive benefit to the world, and so every child is a whole new realm of possibilities. And so there's dignity in that if you understand that. So the Future Authoring Program anyways helps people lay out a plan. And I always suggest to people that they do it badly, because you're not going to do it perfectly. And if you get perfectionistic, it's going to stop you. When you first start to plan, you're probably only going to be about 20% right. But the difference between 0 and 20% is immense. And we found with our research that even people who only spend an hour on it benefit substantially in their ability to stick to what their next plan is. And you mentioned something earlier too, just a bit ago. Oh yes, about scheduling. Yeah, so one of the things I tell people, so you say write down what you're going to do the next day before you go to bed. That's good, because then you've got a direction set when you wake up in the morning. Okay? But I've told people to learn to use a schedule. And people often hate schedules because they act as their own tyrants, right? They say, well, you have to do this unpleasant thing, and then here's another unpleasant thing you have to do, and then you have to do this unpleasant thing. And you do that for about 3 days, and you think, to hell with this, I'm not doing that, and you fall off the wagon. That isn't what you're supposed to do with a schedule. You're supposed to use it to design the days that you would like to have if you were taking care of yourself. And so some of that is, you wake up in the morning and you think, here's 5 things I have to do that if I don't do, my life will be worse. It's like paying bills, for example, or taking out the garbage. It's like you have to do those because otherwise things degenerate. So you got to put some of those in the schedule, because otherwise tomorrow is worse than today, and that's a bad trajectory. But you also want to build in things, you've got to act in some sense like you're dealing with a relatively recalcitrant 9-year-old. It's like, here's some things you have to do, but here's some things that if you do, you could reward yourself with. And if you get the balance there between obligation and reward right, then you'll find that you're motivated to do the things. And that's what you want to do. You want to do that so it's sustainable across days and weeks and months. And so you got to treat yourself like a good boss would treat a valued employee, and not like a tyrant would treat a slave, because the slave will rebel. And people say, well, I don't follow through on my plans. It's like, well, they're probably not very well formulated, and maybe you're doing them because of an external moral obligation or something. They're not really your plans, right? And B, you're acting like a tyrant and a slave, and that's a bad relationship to have with yourself. So you want to treat yourself with the same way. That's the golden rule, right? Treat yourself as you would treat other people as you would have them. Treat other people as you would like to be treated. It works both ways. You also treat yourself like you treat other people properly. So that's a necessary thing, and often people don't do that. But the scheduling is really important.
Actually, when I tell people, because when I first started talking about this, people would start scheduling their day, and they would just go, minute by minute. Yeah. Everything would be scheduled, and you can't maintain that for multiple reasons. Number one is no one wants to have a day like that, where everything that you do throughout the day, minute to minute, sucks. It's things that you don't want to do. So guess what? After 3 days, you say, I'm not doing this anymore. It sucks. It's not fun. And so the same thing with the task list, people would push those off if they're not on the schedule. So I'd say put it on the schedule. But then the thing I ended up telling people is you need to number one, schedule empty space in there, because things are going to take longer, and then you're going to be off schedule, and then you'll be frustrated. So you schedule that things are going to be just empty. You're not going to do anything for for this hour before lunch, you don't schedule anything. You're not going to do anything. You're not going to do anything there. And the other thing is you schedule things that you actually want to do in there, and then you go and execute the things that you want to do. You want to work out every day. You know you should. Well, maybe if it's something you enjoy, then you schedule it in there. If you enjoy picking your kids up from school on Tuesdays and Thursdays, because that's when they do their running club, then you schedule that in there so you can go and do that thing that you want to do. So you don't just schedule the things that suck. You schedule the good things too. And discipline equals freedom. I say this all the time. If you want to have more free time, which is what people want, then you need to have more disciplined time management. You will end up with more free time. I promise you. I promise you will. The other